Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. On Saturday, we're going to see the return of John Ryder and JAIME Munguia. They're going to have a little tussle for the WBC silver super middleweight belt. And I think this is currently held by Munguia, or is it vacant? I think it's Munguia's belt, actually. I think he won it against in his last fight against Sergey Derevyanchenko. That was a great fight. That was back in June of last year. 12-round unanimous decision. Derevyanchenko was down in the 12th. I think it's from a body punch. And John Ryder's last fight was against Canelo Alvarez. Enough said. Went the distance, got beaten up, suffered a badly broken nose. Definitely the type of fight that puts miles on the clock and takes years off your career. But Ryder is 35 now, whereas Munguia is 27. So there is a big difference. Ryder probably past his best, southpaw fighter. Munguia, I guess you'd say, coming into his prime. Munguia's record at the moment is 42 wins with 33 KOs. No draws, no defeats. So, yeah, a very glossy record. John Ryder, 32 wins, 18 KOs, 6 defeats with only one stoppage loss, which was to Nick Blackwell way back. When was that? 2013 or something like that? That's not ridiculous. Was it that far? It's got to be 2015. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. 2015, 2013, 2015. Mid-last decade, anyway. But, of course, the thing about Ryder is he bounces back. He gets stopped in 7 by Blackwell. Then he loses to Jack Armfield over 12 and comes back. And Rocky Fielding had a decision over him. He just keeps on coming back, bouncing back. And defeats do not define his career. And he got a split decision win over Danny Jacobs in 2022, which was his breakthrough in world class. He had a very, very controversial loss to Callum Smith. I thought he clearly beat Smith, but he didn't get the decision. Lost unanimously, which is hard to believe, but it's true. And after edging out Jacobs, and I thought Jacobs won that fight, actually, against Ryder. But Ryder went on to fight Zach Parker, and Parker retired after four rounds with a busted hand, I think. And that got Ryder the career-changing money, life-changing money against Canelo. But when you consider his defeats in the past, like I said, Jack Armfield, Rocky Fielding, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders over 10 years ago now. This is a never-say-die guy. And, good spit and sawdust, blue-collar fighter, ducks no one. The question is, can he take on someone who's 8 years his junior and has got a lot less miles on the clock despite having had 42 fights? Because Munguia pretty much has had things probably all his own way, more or less, you'd say. I mean, he hasn't fought any killers. He won his first title, WBO super welterweight title against Saddam Ali. That was back in, I think, 2018. And he's beaten people like Dennis Hogan, got a majority decision over Hogan. Spike O'Sullivan stopped him in 11. Toriano Johnson's pretty decent. He retired after 6. Camille Zarameta. What was that? Was that a decision or was that a retirement? I can't remember. Am I getting fighters confused? I think that was a retirement as well. I think he had two retirement wins over Johnson and Zarameta. They might have been back-to-back. And then he's fought Gabe Rosado, always goes the distance. That was a unanimous decision. Demetrius Ballard, Derevyanchenko last time out. So he's fought, good B-, maybe B fighters. I mean, Derevyanchenko will give anyone a good row. But Munguia does. He's one of those guys. He sort of looks beatable because he's hittable. But no one has really put it on him. He has had a couple of close decisions, at least on the scorecards, majority decisions. But you wouldn't say he was ever really badly troubled in any of his fights. He's had to work for a few wins. Even Liam Smith back in 2018 down at Super Welter, and that was a defence of his WBO Super Welter title. Even though Smith was on the floor in the 6th round, he got up and he was landing on Munguia and giving him something to think about. So Munguia, undefeated, big 6 foot tall guy. Now he's at super middleweight, probably doesn't look quite as imposing, but certainly as a super welterweight looked huge. Definitely a very good fighter, but has it all to prove in terms of trying to get up to that elite level. And Ryder, no quitting him whatsoever, never say die, real sort of, has a sort of dour attitude towards fighting. It's like, yeah, I'm getting hurt. Yeah, my nose is busted. So what? That's the name of the game. There's no happy. He just never ever asks for any sympathy from anyone. And will, if you're not on your game, he will at the very least test you and possibly beat you, as was proven with the Callum Smith fight and maybe the Danny Jacobs fight. And, well, the question is, who's going to win this fight? And in my opinion, Munguia, pressure fighter, can be hit. I think Ryder, for the first 6 rounds, is probably going to have some success. I think he'll have to ride out. I think he'll have to ride out an early storm, but will nevertheless be clocking Munguia. I don't see him really putting a dent in him. But God, I've written John Ryder off a few times before, so perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but I just feel that Munguia's youth, the fact that he's coming into his prime, 27 years of age, he's got all that experience of 42 fights. Some of them he's had to work hard. I'm going to assume that he's maturing as a person as well as a fighter. I think Ryder, with all his sort of nous and craftiness and savvy and experience, is going to make things very difficult. We'll pinch a few rounds. But to be honest with you, I think youth will be served. I think Munguia will win this fight, and I think he'll probably stop Ryder. I think Ryder, I'm thinking about this, I can't get past that beating that Ryder took from Canelo, which was a horrendous walloping. And that was, I think that was last May, and that Munguia fought Derevyanchenko in June. So there isn't much difference in terms of lack of activity. And yes, okay, the subsequent months will have allowed Ryder to repair himself physically, but in all honesty, I think that beating from Canelo has especially at 35 now, has taken years off him and depleted his resources badly. I could be wrong, of course. John is an incredibly tough man, but I do see him, exchanging with Munguia, being crafty, landing pot shots, landing counters, making it difficult for Munguia to find range. But I think gradually Munguia is going to, the youthful energy and the pressure, the constant pressure, I think will probably pay dividends. He'll start to get to John around about round 6 or 7, and I see a stoppage win for Munguia in rounds sort of 8, 9, 10, that period of the fight, 8, 9, 10. I'll say the 10th. It might even be a corner retirement from Ryder, with his team pulling him out. And that will only be a second stoppage defeat. But again, if he goes the distance, he'll pick up another paycheck further down the line against someone. And is it impossible that John can upset the apple cart? I would be surprised. I wouldn't be that surprised if he went the distance, but to beat Munguia, no, I don't really see that happening. I think Munguia is too rugged, too tough, too big, and too young. And I see him having some naughty moments, maybe, like he does it, like he's had in a few of his other fights earlier on. Even Jimmy Kilrain Kenny, even he was beating him for little periods of early rounds. But Munguia, he's got that sort of dispassionate look about him, and he just takes the individual punches, and he might lose a minute of a round. It doesn't seem to faze him. I think he's very, very mentally tough as well. That's the impression I get anyway. and Derevyanchenko, that incredible fight. Derevyanchenko was having his moments, and Munguia in that fight actually sort of, he was taking a bit of a blasting at times. In fact, Derevyanchenko probably hurt Munguia worse than anyone's ever hurt him. But Munguia has that ability to hang on, and I think that the Derevyanchenko fight probably made Munguia a better fighter. The experience of having to go through fire in that fight. Nevertheless, I think the one with Canelo for Ryder kind of depleted him badly. That's what I'm thinking. So I think that Munguia stops Ryder in about 8, 9, 10. I'll go with the 10th round. But if you've seen my predictions in the Predictions League, you'll know that I'm not very good at the moment of predicting anything. But tell me what you think. Comments below. I think it will be a good fight, very entertaining fight. The styles lend themselves to blending well. Comments below, of course. Tell me what you think and why you think it. Don't just say, I think so-and-so. Well, tell me why. And yeah, as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And looking forward to reading your comments. Thanks for your time. Catch you later. Bye for now.